guests, veterans, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending today's Memorial Day ceremony. We're here today to honor those who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces and who are no longer with us. And thinking about what to say today, I thought of armed forces veterans I have known who have served in various eras and have since died. We know that Memorial Day, once called Decoration Day, began at the end of the Civil War. Now, I didn't know any Civil War veterans. My father and my grandfather did. The person who brought the Civil War home to me was a lady I knew when I was a child. We called her Mama Daisy. She was in her 90s and had been born a slave. She was 10 or 12 years old when the Civil War ended. Mama Daisy had wonderful stories, but what I most remember is that she had no animosity and that she would talk about soldiers from both sides as being kind and respectful. Now, I did know a veteran of the Spanish-American War. He was in his 80s and 90s when I knew him, and it was a family friend. And he had been in Cuba with the 1st United States Volunteer Cavalry, Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders. Again, a person with wonderful stories, some true, some no doubt apocryphal. My uncle was in the First World War. He was in the Navy on a destroyer in the Gulf of Mexico looking for German submarines. They never found any. The most poignant memory I have of the Second World War is that of the father of one of my playmates. He never came home. He was killed in Okinawa when a kamikaze hit his ship. I had a cousin who was in the Army during the Korean War. He didn't actually go to Korea, but he served as well in an air defense artillery unit in Alaska. During the Cold War era of the 50s and 60s, many people served in our armed forces. 2 of my high school friends, each from different schools that I attended, lost brothers during that period in the late 1950s. Both were Navy pilots who were lost at sea after aircraft malfunctions, one in the Atlantic and one in the Pacific. We in Mariposa recently lost one of our Vietnam-era veterans. We all remember Doc Croucher, who died recently, a well-loved member of our community. We remember him as well this Memorial Day. Wars never seem to end. We must remember those who have served in our armed forces in peace and in war. Bosnia, Serbia, Iraq, Afghanistan. We've had those that have served in places like Grenada, Nicaragua, China, Panama, that goes on and on. All people who have served wonderfully in our armed forces. Memorial Day when I was a child was called Decoration Day. Graves of veterans in our town cemetery were decorated with American flags. I'm glad that we still honor our departed veterans today by decorating their graves with the American flag. Thank you for being here.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Ms. Micah Petrucci, representing Senator Tom Berryhill and Assemblymember Frank Bigelow.
Good morning. My name is Micah Petrucci. I am extremely honored to join you today on behalf of Senator Tom Berryhill and Assemblyman Frank Bigelow. And as we take a moment to reflect on those who sacrificed everything so that we may live in a free country. Thank you for being here today, for recognizing the importance of expressing our gratitude to those who faithfully served. I'd like to read a thought from President George Bush that he released a couple days ago about Memorial Day. Today, in thousands of towns, Americans have gathered to pay their own tributes to men and women who died, some at a very young age. We often think of this as one of a great national loss, and that certainly is the case. But for so many, and perhaps many people here today, there is one name among all others, a name that recalls a different time and memories held close and quiet. To those who have known such loss and felt such absence in their life, Memorial Day gives formal expression to a very personal experience. Your losses can be marked but not measured, and we can never measure the value of what was gained in their sacrifice. We live it every day in the comforts of our peace and the gifts of our freedom. These have all been purchased for us, and we are grateful for that sacrifice. As we're here today honoring the men and women of the country for their service, let us also remember and cherish the memory of their lives, sacrifices, and valor. For this short moment that we are gathered together, full of pride and humility, we will continue to pray for them with an affection that grows deeper and deeper as the years carry on, and we shall remember them, all of them, with the great love of a grateful nation. May God bless you, and may God bless America. Thank you.
This time I'd like to introduce Mr. John Carrier from the Mariposa Board of Supervisors. Please come up, John.
I'd like to thank all the organizations who have contributed their time, efforts, and resources to make this event happen. Thank you, invited guests, and all who are here on this solemn day of remembrance for those who have died in the military service of our country. They came from all walks of life, social status, religions, and nationalities. They were men, women, and young adults, and in some instances, teenagers, all committed to serve our country, and in doing so, sacrificed their lives. They are parents, sons, and daughters who on a fateful day bravely entered into the fields of honor, never to return. In honor, I'm going to read a poem written by Lieutenant Colonel John McRae, Canadian Army, during a battle in Belgium. The year was 1915, World War I, and he was on duty for 15 days. He was a physician, tending to all the wounded soldiers during that time. And the day before, he buried his best friend up on a hillside. And during a break, he penned out this poem. In Flanders Fields. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row. That mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly scarce, heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from falling hands we throw, the torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break the faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. Memorial Day is a very special day evolving from small communities in the 1800s, very similar to Mariposa County, on which a special day was dedicated to honor those who died in battle by placing flowers or flags on their graves. Memorial Day was officially recognized by the government in 1868. And as our country grew, so did the propensity of military conflicts in all parts of the world. as well as the need to recognize the ultimate sacrifice of our military. In 1918, Mona and Michael, moved by reading in Flanders Fields, wrote the poem, "We Shall Keep the Faith." Oh, who sleep in Flanders Fields, sleep sweet, to rise anew. We caught the torch you threw, and holding high we keep the faith with all who died. We cherish too the poppy red that grows on fields where valor led. It seems to signal to the skies the blood of heroes never dies, but lends to luster to the red of the flower that blooms above the dead in Flanders Fields. And now the torch and the poppy red we wear in honor of our dead. Fear not that ye who have died for naught will teach the lesson that ye wrought. In Flanders Fields we fought. Michael's inspiration, motivation, and determination went forward to establish the red poppy as the symbol to keep the faith. And in 1920, the VFW adopted the poppy to remember those who gave the most, as well as assisting returning vets. Today we pay respect to our country's flag, stand proud in remembering and honoring those in Flanders Fields. Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce our Mariposa County Sheriff, Doug Benowitz.
Thank you, Chuck. Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day. I want to share a couple personal thoughts this morning. Driving on the way into the ceremony this morning, I think probably everyone noticed this. Aren't the flags incredibly bright today? Our American flags are so crisp in the beautiful weather we're experiencing today to enjoy. It's amazing. Okay, it's amazing and somewhat ironic. I think that we gather here to remember what we're gifted with in such a beautiful day, sunny and warm temperature, and to think about how difficult war times are and how difficult and I imagine dark and either really hot or really cold our troops went to battle for us and sacrificed everything. I think it's just really amazing when you put all those factors together. It's a bit overwhelming for myself to get a grip on all of that. Today, it brings to memory my great uncles. Both were aviators and both flew in World War II. And were amazing gentlemen, and the stories that they shared were just absolutely incredible. And they both made it and returned home to their families, both with injuries. Both were hit with multiple shrapnel throughout their many missions in World War II. But were definite heroes in my mind. Today brings more recent memories of some of my friends, families, and peers that have gone off to battle and have returned, and some that have not, such as Tom Jenkins, who was a graduate a year after myself, graduate of Mariposa County High School. And I know I probably don't need to go into a lot of detail about Tommy, but I know so many of you remember the picture on Time magazine, which is, I think, embedded in most of your heads as it is mine. Very proud Tom and his family. And I remember a comment that Mr. Jenkins made to a reporter that he was so proud of his son. And I think perhaps the press was kind of going at an angle where Tom lost his life due to friendly fire, if there is such a thing. But his father would have none of that. It's fire's fire, and you can only imagine how difficult those venues are. And Tommy died a hero, just as many of our military heroes have passed. Again, I often like to recognize the families of our military personnel. The vicarious trauma that our personnel bring back into the household is overwhelming, I think, for not only their spouses, if they're able to keep them, but also their children. And I made it a point in my career just to try to get that voice out to everyone in society, that there's a lot of heroes out there, but also the heroes that are at home and trying to piece together what's left of that warrior that comes back with the entanglement of emotions. I think some that our military personnel understand, and some that they don't. I also want to recognize my troops that I have the honor of working with on the local venue. We share a different patch and we have a more local mission, but we're all brothers and defend the Constitution with as much passion as, say, Mr. Turner did overseas, as perhaps one of my captains do here in Mariposa County. So I think we're all tied, all of us here today are tied with many commonalities. But today it's our flag, our Constitution, and our brotherhood that I ask that all of us make a strong effort to pass on. And it's important that our children recognize these events and recognize the effort that is extended to making this country strong and great and proud. So again, thank you. There's a lot of effort that is extended to put this event together, Chuck, and I thank your Post and everyone that's involved. This is really a special event, and it's truly an honor to stand in front of you and share a couple of my personal thoughts. But I'm surrounded by so many of my mentors, and most of those are veterans or in the veteran family, and I think that in itself represents a lot. So again, thank you very much.
At this time, we'd like to begin the presentation of wreaths and flowers from the various organizations within our community. And I think that, John, you're top of the line with them. But you've done your speech, and I think you put a wonderful wreath up there, so you may come up here and do that if you'd like. Yes, you can.
On behalf of the Board of Supervisors, I'd just like to thank everyone who has given the ultimate sacrifice for this country, the folks who have served, who are serving, and who will serve this country. I just want to extend a great thank you to all of you. Thank you.
Next, we have the American Legion Post 567, and we have a commander present tonight with Scott Cumming.
Welcome everybody, and thank you for supporting veterans past and present. And our wreath, like everybody else's, is just a symbol for those that gave their lives for our country, so we can be here today and enjoy the fruits of this particular day and what this country stands for. And if you had an opportunity to ever see the Old Guard at Arlington as they presented their wreath this morning, please go to that cemetery and watch the Old Guard protect the tomb of the unknown soldier. It is quite a sight, and it's why we're here. Thank you.
And I think there's a wreath up here from Sheriff's Department too. Am I correct?
Yes.
Good. Okay, the next organization is the Bootjack 49ers 4-H Club, representing Cathy's Valley, Triangle 4-H, and the 4-H Council. Come on out.
So hello, my name is Reagan Broomfield, and I am presenting these wreaths on behalf of the Mariposa 4-H Council and the Mariposa 4-H Triangle Club. We would like to thank all of the soldiers who have given their lives and all of them that are still fighting. We'd also like to thank the retired veterans. Thank you for our freedom.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
On behalf of Bootjack 49ers 4-H Club, I would like to present this wreath in memory of the veterans who've died protecting our country.
Hi, my name is Cole Sostrom. I am the president of Cathy's Valley 4-H. We would like to present this wreath in honor of all of the men and women who gave their all for our freedom. We may never forget that freedom isn't free. General George Patton said, it is foolish and wrong to mourn those who died. Rather, we should thank God such men live So today, on Memorial Day, we give thanks and remember our service. Thank you.
As a true 4-H member, I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, my health for better living, for my club, my community, my country, and my world.
Now, did we overlook the Mariposa County Sheriff's Department here?
On behalf of Sheriff Benowitz and men and women of the Sheriff's Office, we'd like to thank all the veterans, their spouses, and their families for those who've served and those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Thank you. Next, we have the Mariposa Rotary Club with Mrs. Susie Stoneham.
On behalf of the Mariposa Rotary Club, I would like to present this in honor of all of those who have served in our military forces. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have the Girl Scout Mule Trail Council, Marie Pretzer.
afternoon. Today I have with me a junior Girl Scout, a Daisy Girl Scout, and I am a Girl Scout leader. We would like to start out with saying the Girl Scout promise. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. Recently, several Girl Scout troops have sent over 300 boxes of Girl Scout cookies to the active troops. This goes to our boys who are serving over for our country. In return, one time they have held and dedicated a flag flying over Iraq. They have sent us that flag, and the Girl Scouts of Mariposa County treasure it. We would like to say thank you for serving our country, and we deeply appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Next up is Boy Scouts of America Troop 94, and I think we have a senior patrol leader by Nate Gorham to present that.
Boy Scout Troop 94 would like to present this wreath in honor of the men and women who have died for our country and our freedom.
Thank you. Next is the Native Daughters of the Golden West, Marietta Dolce. Pretty good.
Marietta Dolce. Thank you, Marietta.
That's okay, I forgive him. I'm Marietta Dulce from Native Daughters of the Golden West. We are thankful for all the men and women who have served in our armed forces here and in the United States and overseas. We also are proud of the past, the present, of the men and women who gave up their lives for us to live in a much safer country. God bless them all. Thank you.
And next we have Mrs. Colette Turner of the VFW Post 642, Ladies Auxiliary.
Good morning. Before our Senior Vice presents the wreath, I just wanted to share a quick story with you. We had the pleasure of hosting a Belgian student, Veronique Godard, in 1986. And then we had the pleasure of going over and visiting her country in 1999. At that time, she took us to the Henri Chapelle Memorial Cemetery, which sits high up above a knoll in this beautiful valley, and it is covered with thousands of our military soldiers' graves, crosses and stars of David. They are soldiers who lost their lives at the Battle of the Bulge. And I had to travel across the world to find out who Castle Air Force Base was named after. Frederick Castle was the highest ranking officer who went down during the Battle of the Bulge, and he is buried at that cemetery.
My name is Linda Minninger. I'm Secretary of the Auxiliary. One of our reasons for being here and serving is we have adopted and we serve some Marines that are currently serving in Afghanistan. One of them is Jim Turner's grandson, and another is a young man that I've known since he was 18, who is now in his 19th year in the Marines. He is leading a intel division of 50 men in Afghanistan, and we send them gifts regularly, whatever they want.
I'm Cindy Stoll, and I'm the Senior Vice of our local auxiliary. And on behalf of the Ladies Auxiliary of VF Post 6042, we would like to present our wreath to honor and remember the men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice to ensure and preserve our freedom. May God bless our veterans, the soldiers who serve today and in the future, and may God bless America. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce John
Turner. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you all for being here today to remember the men and women who have given their all for this country. Before I give you some names, share some names with you, I would like to just mention Art Memler. Many of you remember Art Memler. Art survived being shot down in World War II. He survived a Nazi concentration camp, and he came back to be a mentor and to give all he could to this community, which he loved. We remember him and his wife. The VFW has a saying about veterans: all gave some gave all. We remember those who gave all: Keith M. Burtkin, Bill Wackerman, Ernie Smithers, and as mentioned, Tommy Jenkins and Robin Rarick. I mentioned also Sergeant Otto Marin, who died at Balad, Iraq, 2003. And we remember Leighton Banks, my wife's great uncle, who died December 7th, 1941 on the USS Oklahoma at Pearl Harbor. After this ceremony, please feel free to contact me to add any names for future memorials. Thank you very much. Thank you, John.
Next, we have Joy Schultz, representing the Seroptimist International. Going once? No. Okay, the next one we have is the Daughters of the American Revolution, and that'll be presented by Andrea Sutherland.
Good morning. As a daughter of an American Revolution member, I trace my family to serving during the Revolutionary War. Since that time, our family has had somebody serving in a conflict or a war to protect the United States and our country's liberty. Therefore, it is very important for us to take the time to remember those that have served and haven't returned home. John F. Kennedy said, "Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, or oppose anyone, for to assure the survival and the success of liberty." On behalf of the Merced River Chapter Daughters of the American Revolution, this wreath is presented by my son, David Summerlin, who is a Children of the American Revolution member. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you just bow your heads and uncover. Almighty God, we commit ourselves to your care. You are our strong tower of defense and our protector. Grant that in life's battles we may be strong and brave, living lives of stainless integrity, reflecting honor upon our country and glorifying your great and holy name. May your good providence shield us from all harm and watch over those who even now guard the gates of freedom. Amen. We will now have a rifle salute followed by taps, and you might want to shield your ears a little bit. I don't know.